Hello fellow book dragons, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here, which I know there's a few new people here. Welcome, my name is Joana and I love to talk about books on this channel, specifically fantasy books, but lately also a few other things. So, long time no see. It's been 4 months since I sat down here to film my last video, my last anything, to be honest. It's been 4 months, and I wanted to first of all thank each and every one of you who has messaged me privately, who has commented on old videos asking, hey, how have you been? We haven't heard from you in a while. I wanted to thank each and every single one of you that has reached out to me, that has showed that you noticed that I was gone, that you missed talking to me, seeing me, whatever. Thank you. Thank you infinitely for everyone who has reached out. And thank you for all the new people who've come here. Thank you for all of those of you who stuck by me during this absence. I will explain what happened somewhat, and I will just give you a big update of my life. So the last time we kind of talked was March. I don't remember really like when I filmed for last, but I think the last video I uploaded was the Books That Made You Think of Me video, and I posted that right before I went on holiday in March. I did one Book Dragons Babble since then, and then I kind of disappeared off the face of the planet. And to be honest, I was filming a vlog in the month of March, and I won't talk much about it because that one is still coming out. I have one more book that I want to read for that, and then I'm going to close out that vlog, so you will see that. I will though do like a before and after. So then I went to Portugal after I uploaded that last video. I even think that that video that came out was uploaded while I was there, and then my life kind of changed. So how I want to structure this video is I want to give you a life update, where I've been, what has happened, why was I gone, and then I want to do like a quick reading update from March, April, and May, because I barely read anything at all in those months. And then I will separately do a June wrap up, because I have been back into reading since June. June was a great month compared to all, I think I read more in June than I read in the other months combined, so I will be doing that one separately. But I'm going to start with a life update. So after I got back from my holiday in March, my life took a big turn. I don't want to go into too many details. I don't want to talk about it way too much. Yeah. So many of you know that I was in a long-term relationship. It had been 8 years, and that relationship was over in March. So it was an adjustment. I don't want to go into many details, like I said, but yeah, an 8-year relationship coming to an end, with everything that it meant for us, with everything, paperwork, everything that came with that ending of that relationship. It just, first of all, it kind of knocked me on my ass, to be honest, because I wasn't expecting it. And then it was a lot of paperwork, a lot of stuff that needed to be figured out. And I finally started to come up for air in the month of June, which is why I think that I really honestly started reading again and wanting to come back to my channel. So that was kind of the big thing that happened in my life, is that my life was turned upside down. I had so much to take care of, so many things to do, and my brain needed all the distractions, and reading just couldn't happen. I read a bit here and there. You will see to what kinds of books I turned to. You will see that the way I read changed a lot, and I just couldn't read. I just couldn't even sit here and talk to you guys because I was not doing well. And so I didn't want to put on a face to pretend and to talk about books because I wasn't reading. What really saved me in this time was my friends and my family. My family was there for me, which I never doubted. But so many of you came through and just like were there. Like I have friends in my, like where I live in real life, of course they were also there, but like so many of my online friends that I met through BookTube were there for me, and I will never ever forget that. I will never forget the people that reached out. I will never forget the people that would just call me in the middle of the night, the people that would just like call me randomly. I'm thinking of people that are like time zones, like the difference of time zones were huge, and just they would call me or just reply to all of my messages. I became closer to some of you that I didn't really talk to before, but then were there for me when this happened. And just like, I want to say thank you again for all of you, for everyone that was there for me. Since then, I've been to Portugal. I was in Portugal in May. I went with Abby from Abby Salter. That was amazing. We had so much fun there. And then I went back in June. I went back 2 times in June. One time with Sophia from Sophia's Thoughts, so that was really fun as well. And so I've been traveling quite a bit just because of decisions that I'm making for my life and needing the escapism that even a freaking fantasy world couldn't give me, just because I couldn't read fantasy at this moment in time. So I've been traveling quite a bit. I've been trying to figure out my life, trying to prioritize what I want, seeing what are my goals now that I am making decisions just for myself and not in that aspect of a family and stuff like that. So that's one big update, which is what kind of knocked me on my ass, what kind of threw everything off its routine, what kind of made everything harder. And that situation is going to be officially done with next week, so that's a good thing. Something else that changed in my life, and let's go for positive things, is I got for my first tattoo. I have 2 tattoos now. I will try and insert photos in case you don't see them well. I got this, yeah, you cannot really see this. It's like a compass that I got on my first trip in March to Portugal. I got this compass, and then in my trip in May where I went with Abby, I got a dragon right here. I finally have a dragon tattoo. I will insert a picture where you see it better than here, and I just love it so much. This tattoo is like just everything to me. I love it. I am so happy I got it done in Portugal. I have an artist there that I really like, and we work together for both of these, and we're working on more in the future, hopefully. So yeah, I got my first tattoos, which is something that I've been wanting to get for years and years and years and years, and I was just too scared because placement and blah blah blah, all of those things that could be scary when you get your first tattoo. But now that I have my first tattoos, I am just obsessed. I love it so much. So that is something that also happened, and that was also really great, and that I'm super happy that I finally did. And last but certainly not least, I kind of wanted to wrap up what I've been reading in March, April, and May, because I read so little in those months that there's not much to say, to be honest, really. Like, there's not much to say. Like I said, I will do a separate June wrap up, and you will get a little bit of insights into what I've been reading, because I think the last wrap up that I posted on this channel was a February wrap up. So I'm just gonna quickly go over the books that I read, quickly tell you what I thought of them, so that you are kind of caught up with my reading over the past few months, with my life over the past few months, and then we'll see how we're gonna go forward. So starting off with the month of March, I'd read 7 books, kind of, sort of. I will go through them. I read The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, which is part of that vlog that is still coming out, so I won't talk about it much here, but just know that I gave it 5 stars, which is a spoiler for that vlog, but I love that book. Then I read Days of Blood and Starlight, because I was supposed to be a part of the live show over on Vicious channel, but I couldn't be a part of Days of Blood and Starlight because that is the day where everything went down. I did give that one 4 stars upon a reread. I really liked it, but I will leave Vish's live show that she did with Sophia in the description of this video so that you can check it out if you want to. Then, because that's when my life took a turn and I just couldn't focus on anything that was fantasy, I completely switched what I was reading. I needed stuff that was going to make me happy, that was going to make me forget about my problems, where I didn't need to focus on a magic system, where I didn't need to focus on maps and characters and getting to know all these things. I needed stuff that was going to be easy, and that was going to be quick, and that was going to be fun. And so I turned to romance and to cozy mysteries. Those were the 2 genres that I really turned to in this time of, let's say, distress, because it's what it was. And I mainly listened to audiobooks. I had a very hard time just sitting down and reading. Even immersion reading was almost impossible. I tried it here and there. Now I'm fully back into immersion reading, but I listen to audiobooks. So this is why I love audiobooks, because they get you through hard times and they can help you keep sane, because it is a distraction. You are listening to something and they're just there for you. And I was so grateful for audiobooks in this time. So the first book I read after was Finley Donovan is Killing It. And this was such a big surprise. I love this book. I still have a hard time rating things on their own scale. Like I need to just be better at not thinking of a fantasy book and a romance book and a mystery book or a thriller in the same way. I gave Finley Donovan 4 stars, but honestly, as a cozy mystery, I think it's a 5 stars. I had so much fun with it. I was laughing. I was just like, this book made me forget about my problems for a while. It was just such a good book. I loved it. We follow a woman who is an author, and she is in a cafe with her agent, and she's pitching her next book, but someone overhears her pitching her next book and thinks that Finley is a hit woman for hire, and so she hires her to kill another woman's husband. And Finley, because she's going through a divorce and because she doesn't have any money, is kind of like, well, maybe I should take her up on this offer. Then I read another cozy mystery, which was Dial A for Aunties. This one was even funnier than Finley Donovan. I love this book so much. I also gave it 4 stars, but probably like as a cozy mystery, it's a 5-star. Our main character and her aunties have this wedding business. So one does the cakes, one does the decorations, one does the, like our main character is a photographer. And at the beginning of the story, she goes on a date with someone and then she kind of accidentally kills the guy on her date, and she calls her aunties for help, and instead of like, you know, a normal reaction, they're like, okay, well, we need to take care of this body, you cannot go to jail, this is not a problem, we're gonna handle this. And they put him in a fridge and they accidentally ship him to a wedding. So that's kind of like the main pitch of the story. The story is hilarious. The aunties were so fun. The audiobook of this is phenomenal. I laughed out loud so many times. I was walking down the streets, just like going on walks and listening to my audiobooks, and I was laughing out loud. It was amazing. Then I went for a romance, and I went for a super hyped romance. I was gonna do a hyped romance reading vlog, and then because of what was going on, I wasn't doing vlogs, I was just reading sometimes. And I read It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is such a popular romance author, such a popular book by her specifically. And this is inspired by Schitt's Creek, which I have no idea what that is because I've never watched it, but that's all I hear. And basically we follow our main character, who is this rich party girl, and she's never had to worry about anything because she's just rich and she just has this glamorous life until she gets into one scandal too many. And her stepdad is like, okay, you know what? You need to just learn about work, about what it's like to not be a party animal and to just like get a normal life. So I'm gonna take you and I'm gonna send you to this small fishing town where your father was originally from, and you're gonna go there and you're gonna prove to me that you can be a responsible adult. Otherwise, you know, maybe no more money, whatever it was. And she goes to this small fishing town and her sister goes with her, and they get there, and of course she meets this like super grumpy fisherman, and sparks fly and a romance ensues from there. And I liked this book. I liked the small town aspects of this book. I love small town romances, so if you have small town romances recommendations, please leave them down below because I really liked that aspect of this book. But I just did not like the couple. And that is too bad because you're reading a romance novel. You should be caring about the couple. You should be invested in their romance, and I just wasn't. It didn't feel like they would actually end up together after the book ended. To me, there was no chemistry. To me, it just wasn't believable, and therefore I gave it 3 stars. After that, I was reading this book for that vlog that's coming out. I was reading The Kingdom of Back. I ended up DNFing it. I will talk about it in that vlog. And then the last book I read in the month of March was Read On by Brandon Sanderson, which is the next short story in the Saitoverse before we get to Saitonic, but I haven't read Saitonic yet. I gave Read On 4 stars. I liked it a lot. I think it was fun, it was engaging, and I really liked where we're going with this Saitoverse. But I'm really nervous to read Saitonic because of the mixed reviews it got. But that was Read On. Then we come to the month of April, where I read 2 books. I read 4 Aunties and a Wedding, which is the sequel to Dial A for Aunties. I'm not gonna go much into detail about this one. There is another wedding. There is a mafia thing where the aunties pretend that they're part of the mafia, and it's just hilarious. This book was so freaking funny. Again, I gave it 4 stars, probably closer to a 5 stars in reality. I loved it. I had such a great time with this. This series was just I just love these books so much. I will definitely be re-listening to these on audio again and again and again just because they're so freaking hilarious and just such a nice palate cleanser. So I really like that one. And then to finish off my month of April, I only read 2 books. I read Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. I finally finished out the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. It had been years and years and years since I started this, probably like 8 or something years since I started it for the first time. I finally finished it out. I really like this last book. I think I gave it 4 stars or something like that. I didn't write it down. I think I must have given it 4 stars or something like that. I read this in 24 hours because of the live show on Vicious channel. So instead of talking about it, I will leave the live show for Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Days of Blood and Starlight, and Dreams of Gods and Monsters in the description of this video, so you can go check it out. And I'm just happy that I finished this series, and I actually really ended up liking it, which was a good thing. And then we get into the month of May. I read 2 books in the month of May, 2 romances, and one I loved and one I really didn't love. The first book I read was Ruthless Creatures. I forget author name, so I just put the cover here, you can see it. So Abby and I, when we were in Portugal, were like, you know what we should do? We should do a mafia romance reading thing together. And we picked a few books. Abby has read more since then. I then was like, you know what? I'm still in a slump. I still can't commit to anything. Abby, you just go ahead and read. But we read Ruthless Creatures together. Like, she finished it way before I did, but we read it together. I kind of this book 2 stars. The pitch of the story is that we have our main character and her husband, or her fiance. Her fiance died like a few years prior, and this new hunky man moves in next door, and of course he's the head of the mafia. She doesn't know this, and her and her best friend get into all the mafia shenanigans. Romance ensues. That's kind of like the plot, but the reason I gave this 2 stars. The reason I gave it 2 stars, first of all, is because Sloane, I think that's the best friend, she saved this book for me. She was hilarious, she was funny, and I am interested in the next book in the series because it follows her, and I really liked her. But oh my goodness, this guy, the hero, the male lead was so intense. Like, I just couldn't. He was too intense for me. I mean, I get that he's a mafia, like, boss and all of that, but no. He was too intense. There was some scene where I was like, oh my God, Abby, what am I reading? Like, you are way too intense, way too, just, no. And I didn't like the ratio between mafia and romance. When I read a mafia romance, I want the mafia aspect of the book to be a big part of it, because otherwise I can just read any contemporary romance or any like dark romance or whatever. No, I wanted to see like the workings of the mafia and the politics side of the mafia, which I love politics in my books, so that's why I wanted to read mafia romances, and that was not really a part of it. Like, you get like 1 or 2 scenes with the mafia in this book, but like it wasn't a big part of it. However, Abby has continued on, and she's read Brutal Prince by Sophie Locke, and she said that that one has a better balance between the mafia and the romance aspect of things, and therefore I am going to be reading that one eventually when I get back into a mafia romance mood. But yeah, 2 stars for Ruthless Creatures. Not for me. And then the last book I read in the month of May, and that one was such a surprise for me. I had heard so many mixed reviews about this book, and I just didn't know what way it was gonna go, and that is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas, and this one was a 5-star for me. This is a 5-star romance for me because of so many different things. I loved it. So a lot of people had complaints about it being like halfway through the book, there's still nothing really happening between the characters, and I love a slow burn. I loved seeing these characters come together and become friends and then become like romantically involved. What I loved most about this book, I love that it was set in Spain. Something that I've talked about with other people that are from either Spain or Portugal is that we often feel like we're not included in the Latina community or in the Latinx community. And we are, like, literally that's what we are. We are Latinos, Latinas, whatever. And we don't, like, it doesn't often feel like we are included in that aspect. Like, it doesn't feel like we have a legitimate place in that community sometimes, because people think of Latinx people as South American people or Central and South American people and whatnot. And in this book, it was so refreshing to see that we were included, like that Spanish people, Portuguese people are a part of it. And I just loved seeing that. I just loved feeling represented in that way. And I don't know, I just love the romance. I love the hero and the heroine. I loved everything. I love the family aspect. I felt so seen. I felt like, yes, this could have been my family if we just switched countries on the peninsula, and it would just like, I loved it. I loved it so much. I'm so glad I gave this book a go, because I ended up really, like I said, loving it and gave it 5 stars. So there you go. That is my big life update, my big reading update for the past 4 months of my life. I will, like I said, do a separate June wrap up so that I can talk about all the books I read in June, because there's a lot more of them. I'm so happy that I'm back into reading. And how are we going forward? I don't know. I don't want to make a ton of promises. I'm gonna aim for 1 video per week and or 2 videos per week. I was doing 2 videos per week before I kind of disappeared. I want to bring back Book Dragons Babble because I love discussions. I love them so much. I want to bring back reading sprints. I want to bring back a lot of those things. I'm going to aim for 1 video per week or 2. I would love to do more reading vlogs because they make me happy. I like filming them. I love watching reading vlogs. They're my favorite things to watch. And so I think I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do, I don't think I'm going to do weekly reading vlogs because I don't read enough in a week. I don't do enough in a week to film. And I mean, I do stuff, like I hang out, I'm a lot more social now. I hang out with a lot more friends and family and stuff, but I don't want to film that because they're my friends and family. They don't want to be on camera. But I'm going to be doing a few more vlogs, maybe weekend vlogs or something like that, or themed vlogs, and just like good old regular content. So yeah, I am very excited to be back. This makes me so freaking happy. You have no idea. I missed BookTube. I missed the book sphere. I missed reading so much, and now that I'm back, I'm like, yes, I'm so happy, and I just can't wait to continue on this journey with you guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Welcome to all the new people, and I am just so happy that you're here and that I'm here and that books are here and that we can all be brought together by these words on these pages. So until next time, happy reading, stay safe, and I will see you very soon. Bye.